Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here to provide a news update for July 29th, 2020. Um, I, along with many people at the Rocket Miner, um, read a lot of stories every day, a lot of headlines. We're combing through wire stories, um, original reporting, press releases, faxes, still get those, um, on the spot accounts that we ourselves collect, social media, all to come to kind of get a gist for what's going on, what's some of the most important developments, trends, stories to be focusing on and sharing with people. Today, I'd like to highlight a story from the Associated Press about Mary Daniel and her husband Steve, and how they face unique challenges in the face of the coronavirus, and how they still found a way to overcome um, the barriers that um, developed between them. This story by Kelly Kennedy with the Associated Press has the headline, "Can I Get a Job? Wife Tries It All for Nursing Home Reunion." Dateline, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 114 days. That's how long Mary Daniel went without seeing her husband after the coronavirus banned visitors from his nursing home, separating the couple for the first time since he was diagnosed with the early onset Alzheimer's 7 years ago. When the Jacksonville nursing home locked down in March, Mary Daniel didn't think it would last long. The 57-year-old, who runs a medical billing company, promised Steve she would not leave his side after his life-altering diagnosis at the age of 59. But the 66-year-old thrived at Rose Castle at Deerwood and became known as the mayor of the facility, sitting at the front desk and hugging every visitor and delivery person. They settled into a peaceful routine. Every night, Mary headed to the facility, changed Stephen into his pajamas, and the two cuddled in bed and watched TV. On March 11th, she got a call from the home forbidding her from returning, as nursing homes across the state went on lockdown to prevent the virus from spreading amongst its vulnerable patients. Undaunted, she asked about taking a volunteer position. When that didn't work, she offered to bring in the therapy dog she raises for wounded veterans into the facility for the residents. Still no. "Can I get a job?" she asked with sincerity, marking each day apart from her husband with growing unease. Quote, "I'm throwing all these things out." End quote. She watched as people across the country found creative ways to connect with loved ones now locked away. But it's different with dementia patients. Steve doesn't complete sentences, so video chats were useless. She tried to window visits, but Steve cried both times. He didn't understand why she was so far away. It was torture, and she vowed not to return until she could hold him. "Dementia patients decline more quickly without human touch," she said. She emailed the governor every day, along with anyone who could listen, as the days stretched into months. She joined a support group on Facebook, Caregivers for Compromise because Isolation Kills Too. And she's become an advocate. Quote, "My husband is 5 miles away from me, but I can't get to him," she said. "It's like he died, but it's worse than him dying because he's not at peace." Then, out of the blue, the phone rang 3 weeks ago. It was the corporate office at Steve's nursing home. They had an opening for a part-time dishwasher. Was she interested? She jumped at the chance and went through a drug test and 20 hours of video training on hazardous waste disposal and food safety. knowing Steve was on the other side. Kelly Withrow, the facility's executive director, stressed that the visitation ban is necessary, but acknowledged it's, quote, been hard on families and residents alike, so we feel creative solutions were necessary, especially in the case of Mary and Steve, end quote. Now, twice a week, Daniel finishes her office job, heads to the nursing home kitchen, and scrubs dirty dishes for 90 minutes. She said she's, quote, doing everything in my power to get to my husband because he needs me to touch him, end quote. She worries her family is still separated. On Tuesday, Governor Ron DeSantis said he was considering loosening Florida's ban on visitations at nursing homes for loved ones who can take a rapid response test for the virus before entering the facility. Last quote. There's a hopelessness. There's a helplessness, Daniel said. Hundreds of thousands of people are feeling that right now. They're dying alone, and it's tragic. It's bordering on cruelty at this point. We're lucky in Wyoming. We don't have a statewide crackdown. Many local facilities have much stricter guidelines than in the past, as we should have. And we should be thankful for the options that are available to us, especially have a family member where even if you can't cross the distance, you still can talk to them over the phone, FaceTime, through a window, through an outdoor visit. To me, one of the biggest news developments this week was a bad story that didn't result. It was the announcement that Mission at Castle Rock had gone 2 weeks without a positive test following the first report of a worker who'd become positive. The nursing home credited that the initial guideline, the extra guidelines they have in place for making sure the spread didn't go any farther, such as mask wearing. And honestly, that's stupendous news. I know people who had some restless nights about that, and I'm hoping that they're breathing easier. We're also not out of the woods for that. We're thankful that in this case nothing happened. It's still upon us as individuals and a community to do what we can to limit the spread, especially in places where we can't do as much distancing as is recommended. One of the reasons why I picked this story is that it reminds me of something that I'm often looking for, and when I'm trying to find stories for our pages or website or whatnot. It's that we human beings can be quite spectacular when it comes to our creativity, when it comes to our compassion, when it comes to what we do to make things better for the world that we live in, for those that we have close around us, and for the greater good. Mary's trying to help out her husband and like-minded families. She recognizes that particularly people in her situation have unique risks, have unique challenges, and some of the solutions that we've come up with aren't good enough in her case. You see a lot of ugly things when you spend too much time watching the news lately. Whether it's in the headlines or the comment section, there's a lot of negativity out there. But one of the things that is rewarding if you are watching for it, sometimes you have to dig for it, are stories like these where you see some bright points. One of the things that does give me hope and fills up my cup when it's starting to get emptied out is that we humans, we individuals, we people, we have a million ways that we can show love, show that we care. Not all of them require employ words. beyond the easy cliche tropes of candies, cards, chocolate. There are a number of things that we can do like Mary did, where every action, even the unsuccessful ones, showed how she cared. Wherever you're at today, I hope that you're successful in your endeavors to be able to communicate that to the people around you. This is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, wishing you a good day and a safe tomorrow.